The night was cold. Rain fell hard on the broken metal roofs of the prison camp. Lightning flashed across the dark sky, showing tall electric fences and watchtowers with glowing red lights. The air smelled like rust, blood, and smoke. Captain Eli moved like a shadow. He wore dark armor, wet from the storm. He was alone, behind enemy lines. His mission was simple: find survivors and bring them home. He wasn't supposed to stop. He wasn't supposed to look, but then he heard a whisper. It was soft, almost lost in the rain. "Don't touch me, human." Eli froze. He turned his head slowly toward the sound. Behind a broken gate, down a narrow path, he saw a small cage. It was made of steel bars and electric locks. Inside, someone was sitting in the mud. A girl, not human. She looked like a young alien, maybe 17 in human years. Her skin was pale purple, her long hair matted with dirt and blood. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark, large and full of fear. She hugged her knees to her chest, shivering in silence. Eli stepped closer. The girl looked up at him. "Don't touch me. I'm too dirty," she whispered again. Eli said nothing at first. His training told him to keep moving. She could be dangerous, maybe a spy, maybe a trap. The war had taught him not to trust anyone, but then she looked into his eyes. Not like an enemy, like someone lost. He bent down near the cage. "What's your name?" he asked, voice low. She shook her head. "I don't have one," Eli frowned. "Who did this to you?" She looked away. Everyone. There was silence for a moment. Only the sound of rain and buzzing wires. Eli looked at her again. She had wounds, deep old scars. Some from alien weapons, some from human tools. "Why are you here?" he asked. She didn't answer. Her lips trembled. "They used me, broke me, and left me. I didn't matter to them." He looked at the lock. It was high-tech, but he had the tools. He knelt and started working. The girl's eyes widened. "No. Don't help me." Eli kept working. "You'll get in trouble," she said. "I'm already in trouble," he replied. The lock clicked. The door creaked open slowly. The girl didn't move. She stayed there, shaking, scared. Eli reached out a hand. She stared at it. "Don't touch me. Please, I'm not clean. I'm wrong." Eli didn't move his hand. "Then let me be the one who gets dirty." Her lips parted, her eyes filled with tears. Slowly, her hand moved. It was small, cold, and shaking. She touched his fingers and didn't let go. "I'll carry you if I have to," Eli said, lifting her gently. For a second, she flinched, but then she rested her head on his shoulder. As he walked back into the storm, alarms began to blare in the distance. Red lights flashed. "Someone had seen them. They know," she said softly. "They're coming." "Who?" She whispered the name of a species Eli had only heard in nightmares. The Zarathans. The monsters who had started the war. The ones who wanted Earth destroyed. Eli's heart pounded. "Why are they after you?" "I escaped," she said. "I know things I wasn't supposed to see." "Like what?" She didn't answer. But her eyes glowed a little brighter in the dark. "Something inside me," she whispered. "Something they want." Eli held her tighter and ran through the rain. Gunfire started behind them. The chase had begun. The ship shook as it left the enemy zone. Thunder still echoed in the sky behind them, but inside the small human dropship, everything was quiet, except her breathing. She lay across one of the metal benches, wrapped in a dirty blanket. Her skin was cold, her eyes were closed, but her fingers were still wrapped around Eli's hand. She hadn't let go. Not even for a second. Captain Eli sat beside her, helmet off, watching her closely. The girl, this strange, broken alien girl, was asleep, but her face twisted every now and then, like she was fighting something inside a dream. He didn't know her name. He didn't know where she came from. But he knew one thing. She was not ordinary. The medical room inside the base was small and quiet. The walls were gray. The lights were soft. The air smelled like old plastic and metal. The girl woke up slowly. Her eyes blinked open, glowing dimly in the low light. "You're safe," Eli said gently. "We made it out." She sat up quickly. "Where am I?" "Human base, near Sector 9. You were hurt." You passed out? She looked down at her arms, bandages, clean clothes. She touched them like she didn't believe they were real. I thought you'd leave me, she said. Eli shook his head. I told you, I don't leave people behind. Her eyes filled with something strange. Not tears, but fear. I'm not a person. He stared at her. What do you mean? She looked away. They made me. Eli's voice lowered. Who made you? She didn't answer for a moment. Then she stood and walked to the mirror across the room. She lifted her shirt slightly. Under her skin, glowing blue lines ran across her stomach, like veins, but digital. I'm part machine, she said. They put code in my blood, memories. Data, I was supposed to be a weapon. Eli stood slowly. You said you escaped the Zarathans? They did this to you? She nodded. They took orphan children from across the galaxy. Changed us, controlled us. I was their scout, their spy. Eli's hand went to his sidearm without thinking. She saw the movement. She didn't flinch. I don't blame you, she said quietly. I wouldn't trust me either. He didn't draw the weapon. He just stared. How did you escape? He asked. I saw something, she whispered. A human colony. They sent me to study it. To destroy it from the inside. And? I couldn't. The humans there. They were kind. A family gave me food, smiled at me, treated me like I was real. She paused, her voice cracked. No one ever did that before. Her hands started to shake, so I ran. The Zarathans sent hunters after me. Then the humans captured me too. Eli's jaw tightened. Humans put you in that cage? She nodded. They said I was dangerous, they were right. But they still used you. I stopped being a person a long time ago, she said, voice hollow. Eli stepped closer. You're not a weapon, not anymore. She looked up. Then what am I? You're someone who held my hand when the world was burning. That's enough for me. Silence filled the room. Then she asked softly, Can I have a name? Eli smiled slightly. What about Rin? She repeated it like it was something sacred. Rin. Suddenly the lights flickered. Warning alarms buzzed once, then stopped. Eli looked around. Power spike, Rin gripped her head. Her eyes flashed. Bright blue, like a computer turning on. It's happening again, she gasped. What is? They're inside me, their signal. I can hear it. She dropped to her knees, shaking violently. Eli grabbed her shoulders. Rin, what's happening? Her voice was not fully hers now. It layered with something cold and distant. Zarathan command protocol active, tracking sequence initiated. Eli's eyes widened. They're using you like a beacon. She looked at him, terrified. They're coming. It began. With a cold wind, not from outside, inside the base, in the deepest corridors, where the walls never breathed. Where cameras always blinked red, something unseen moved, a flicker, a whisper. A shadow without a source. No one saw it. No one heard it, but Rin felt it. She sat alone in the dark hallway outside the medical bay, arms wrapped around her knees. Eli was gone, called to the war room for a quick report. The silence should have been peaceful. Instead, it pressed on her chest like a hand. Then came the voice, not from outside. From inside her skull, asset located, prepare for capture. Her eyes widened. She jumped to her feet. Her breathing was fast. Her fingers trembled. No. No, not again, she whispered, but her body, her own body, had started moving. Without her, across the Basela, I stood in front of a group of soldiers. One of them, a tall woman named Sergeant Kale, looked angry. She's a tracker, Kale shouted. You brought a homing device into our base. She's not a device. Eli snapped back. She's a person. Your person just triggered a long-range spike in enemy signals. We've got Zarathan probes near our orbit. That is not a coincidence. Before Eli could answer, the base lights went black. Red emergency lights blinked on. Then a cold voice echoed through the speakers. Power failure in Zone 3. Unauthorized movement detected. Eli's heart dropped. He ran. Back in the corridor, Rin's footsteps echoed, uneven, strange. She was walking. But not by choice. Her fingers moved like puppets. Her glowing eyes stared ahead, blank, cold, blue. Inside her mind she was screaming, but No one heard. The Zarathans had found her. They had activated the control node buried in her brain. She was now a walking beacon, leading the enemy straight to the humans. "You're ours again," the voice said in her mind, but just as she reached the hangar doors, Eli appeared. "Rin!" he shouted. "Stop!" She turned slowly, but her eyes were wrong. She raised her hand, a glowing pulse of energy shot toward him. He dodged, barely, crashing behind a crate. "Rin, I know you're still in there," he yelled. Inside her mind, she fought, she screamed. She clawed at the walls in her own brain. "Let me out. Let me out." Then she saw his face, not scared, not angry, just waiting for her to come back. Her hand shook. "Rin. Listen to my voice," Eli said gently. "You're not theirs. You're not a weapon." A tear rolled down her cheek, even as her other hand charged another energy blast. "I'm trying," she whispered. "Then fight harder." The lights in her eyes flickered. The control signal buzzed in her skull. "You belong to us." "No," she said. The energy in her hand exploded backward into the wall as she dropped to her knees, screaming, and the signal went dead. Later that night, Rin lay on the floor, weak, breathing heavily. Sweat rolled down her skin. Her body ached. But the control was gone. She had broken it. By herself. Eli sat beside her, silent. She looked at him. "I almost killed you." He nodded slowly. "You didn't. You should have ended me." "I wasn't looking at a weapon," he said. "I was looking at a girl who didn't give up." She closed her eyes. Then whispered, "They'll send more. Now that I've rejected the signal, they'll come in person." Eli looked toward the stars. "They can try," he said. "They'll find us waiting." It started with a hum. Quiet. Soft. Alive. The kind of sound you feel in your bones before your ears ever notice it. Rin stood at the edge of the base's lower level, an old tunnel sealed for years. The air was colder here, filled with dust, forgotten machines, and broken memories. She hadn't meant to come. She didn't remember. Walking there, her feet had moved on their own, like something had called her. 2 hours earlier, Eli was arguing in the war room. The Human Command Council wanted to relocate. "Zarathan ships are closing in," said Commander Hurst. "We move in 12 hours. Eli shook his head. "We're not leaving her behind. She's unstable. She's surviving. We can't protect her forever." "I'm not asking for forever," Eli said. "I just need time." Meanwhile, Rin wandered deeper, past locked doors, past old scanners that didn't recognize her, past walls painted with long faded warnings. She didn't feel afraid. Not this time. She felt drawn. In the deepest chamber, she found it. A machine taller than a building. Half buried, covered in roots and dirt and time. It pulsed with slow blue light. Like a sleeping heart, she stepped closer. Her skin tingled. Her breath caught. Something deep inside her was waking. A voice. But not than. Not human. Something older. Something buried. At the surface, sensors exploded to life. Energy spike. Section 9. A soldier shouted, "It's her," Eli said immediately. Already running? Back in the chamber. Rin touched the machine, and the world around her changed. She was standing in space. Alone. Stars everywhere. And floating in front of her, a great black eye, watching her. "You were not made to destroy," the voice said. "You were made to remember." Suddenly, images flashed around her, galaxies dying, planets burning, Zarathans harvesting entire civilizations, and then humans fighting back. Winning. Loving, refusing to give up. "They called them weak," the voice whispered. "But they never broke. That is why you were made. With human code." Back in the chamber, Eli reached her just as the machine exploded in light. He shielded his face. "Rin!" She turned. Her eyes were glowing bright, but no longer cold. They were full of fire. "I saw it," she said. "I saw what they're afraid of." "What? Us?" The beacon pulsed again, once, and sent a silent signal into space. Far away. Ships changed course. Zarathans were coming, but this time, not just to hunt. To stop what she had started. Some truths don't arrive like thunder. Some come quietly, like tears falling on metal floors, like memories that don't belong to you. Like the whisper of a voice long gone, echoing in your blood. That's how Rin found out what she really was, not with a scream, but with silence. 3 days after the beacon, awakened Rin sat alone in the lab, hooked to ancient human tech. Wires ran across her arms, her spine, even into the base of her skull. The machine scanned her DNA, her brain, her code. Eli stood behind the glass. He was the only one still defending her. The rest of the base watched her like a ticking bomb. Doctor Levin, an old war scientist, stepped back from the console. His hands were shaking. "She's not just a hybrid," he said. "She's a key. A key to what?" Eli asked. The doctor looked at him. "A weapon. A final one. Made in secret by both humans and Zarathans, a forced project. She wasn't created to fight. She was created to end the war." Eli's heart dropped. "How?" The doctor hesitated. "Her blood carries a shutdown signal, a genetic virus coded specifically to destroy the Zarathan ruling caste. But it can't be spread by air or weapon, only by direct link, bio-neural contact." Eli stared through the glass. "You're saying she has to get close?" The doctor nodded. "And when she does, it will kill her too." Inside the labyrinth didn't need to hear the words. She already knew, the moment she touched the beacon. The moment the machine awakened something inside her, she felt it. A countdown had started, a door had opened in her mind, and behind that door, she saw it clearly, a throne of bones. A planet made of fire, and herself. Walking into the dark alone, that night Eli brought her tea. It was warm. She didn't drink it, just held it in her hands like something fragile. She looked at him. "You knew, didn't you?" Eli didn't lie. "I know now." "And?" He sat beside her. "I'm not giving you up." She smiled, small, sad. "You can't stop this. You're not dying for them." "I'm not dying for them," she whispered. "I'm dying for you, for what you showed me." Her voice trembled now. "I spent my life thinking I was just a lab tool, a spy, a dirty thing made for war. But you treated me like a real person, like I could choose who I wanted to be." "You can," he said. She looked down. "Then I choose this. I choose to finish what they started. I choose to save someone else, even if I don't get to stay." Eli clenched his fists. "Promise me one thing," she said. "Anything. Don't call it sacrifice. Call it freedom." Outside, in space. The Zarathan fleet had changed course. They weren't running anymore. They were coming, and they were afraid, not of guns, not of ships, not of human armies. They were afraid of her, because she wasn't just human. She was hope. Hope wrapped in skin and fire. And hope, they had learned, is the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. The stars were quiet that night. Not peaceful. Not calm. Just dying. Like the galaxy itself was holding its breath. Above the dark side of the moon, the Zarathan flagship floated in silence, a monster of black metal and red light, big enough to eclipse a city. And aboard a stolen shuttle. Drifting toward it, Rin sat across from Eli, staring into the silence between them. She was wearing a pressure suit, but inside, her heart was bare. Eli checked his weapon for the 5th time. "You don't have to say yes," he said quietly. "I already did," Rin replied. He looked up. "You could run, disappear. I could hide you." She smiled a little. "You would, that's the problem." Then she leaned forward and touched his hand through the glove. "I'm not afraid to die," she said. "I'm afraid I won't make it matter." The plan was simple. Get close, get inside, trigger the signal in Rin's blood. Destroy the Zarathan leadership from within, but the flagship was a trap, not just a machine of war. It was alive. As they docked, the shuttle was swallowed by a huge bay of shifting metal. Doors closed like jaws. Inside, everything was too quiet. No guards, no weapons, just dark, waiting corridors. "They're expecting us," Rin said. "I know," Eli replied. "Well, that surprised them anyway." They moved through the ship like ghosts. Eli took point. Rin followed, her hand trembling slightly. Not from fear, but from the weight of what was coming. Then they reached it. The throne room. It wasn't made of gold or light. It was a giant chamber made of bone. Alien bone. Twisted, fused, ancient. And sitting on a black throne of living tissue was the Zarathan Prime, tall, thin, almost beautiful in a cold, insect-like way. Its face had no mouth, only 6 glowing eyes. It spoke directly into their minds. So, the little hybrid found her way home. Eli raised his weapon. Ri and stepped forward instead. No more cages, she said. No more control. The Zarathan. Prime tilted its head. You were built by us. Sharpened by them. You are nothing but a tool, still hoping to be more. I am more, she whispered. I chose this. Then she closed her eyes. Her veins lit up, bright blue and gold. Glowing through the suit, the code inside her, the final message, the buried virus, the kill seed activated. The Zarathan screamed. A sound like metal tearing in space. Around them, lights shattered, the walls twisted. The ship roared. Eli ran to her. Rin! Her body was shaking violently now, her eyes full of tears. Go, she said. You don't have time. I'm not leaving. Please, she whispered. Let me do this. She reached up and gently touched his face. For the first time, skin to skin, her last smile was small, peaceful. You gave me a reason. Then the light exploded from her body, and the ship began to die. Outside, in orbit, the entire Zarathan fleet staggered. The Prime was dead, their hive mind cracked. Ship spun out of control. Weapons powered down. Systems failed. The war was ending, because one girl remembered who she was inside the shuttle. Eli barely escaped. He looked back through the small window. At the flagship collapsing in on itself, the last thing he saw was Ra and standing tall in the light and smiling. She died with her hand open. As if she was still reaching for something. Not escape, not mercy, just a promise. And Eli had made it. The wreckage of the Zarathan flagship floated in pieces above the moon, glowing like a second sunrise across the stars. Their ships had fallen silent. The war machines turned cold. Their minds disconnected. The hive was gone, and Rin was gone with it. That's what the reports said. That's what the generals believed. That's what the files recorded. But Eli, he didn't believe in endings. 3 weeks later, Human Outpost, Medical Station 12. The door opened with a soft hiss. A nurse stepped in, carrying a datapad, her face tired. She hasn't moved. Eli sat in the dark beside the bed. His armor was gone. His eyes were heavy, his beard a little thicker. He didn't speak. He just held her hand. Still. Just like he had the night. She disappeared in light and came falling back to him in the wreckage hours later, breathing barely. Half. Her body was burned. Her heart had stopped twice. The Zarathan code had melted every circuit in her veins, but something inside her refused to die. She's not human. The doctors had said she's not machine either. No, Eli had whispered. She's Rin. The girl on the bed stirred. Just a twitch. Barely more than a breath, but Eli felt it. He stood fast. Rin? No response. He leaned closer. Come on. You fought death itself. You shut down a fleet. Don't you dare quit on me now. Then, for the first time in 20 days, her fingers moved. They curled around his weak. But their Eli froze. His throat tightened. Then he heard it. Soft. Broken, almost like a breath. You're still holding my hand. He blinked away tears. Yeah. I never let go. She whispered. 2 months later, Earth. The war was over, not won by guns or fleets, but by a girl no one was meant to remember, and a human who refused to forget her. And walked through the garden outside the medical center. Barefoot on real grass for the first time in her life, children watched her from a distance, wide-eyed and curious. Some had heard stories. Some had drawn pictures. Some just knew she was someone who mattered. Eli walked beside her, not as a soldier, just someone who stayed. She looked up at him. I don't know what comes next. We decide that, he said. Together. She nodded. And slipped her hand into his. This time, not out of fear, not out of weakness, but because she chose to, and she didn't let go.